Come on, Twitch.
An aficionado. I know basketball. I know boxing. I know
Yeah.
sports,
Well,
but not.
well,
I know what I'm reading, but I don't know, and so that's a big thing to me.
well, I mean,
All
I
right.
think you're first of
Think
all
think
selling
we're
yourself a
chilling.
little short,
Okay.
but it's better than being arrogant.
Hmm.
And also, like, it doesn't have to be, you know, we've always wanted you to come on in the beginning,
Yeah.
which is a one-on-one thing, and especially when it was in your wheelhouse,
Yeah.
because, there are these sports issues that are, I mean, very prevalent in society in
Right.
general. I mean, look how much Jackie Robinson,
Right.
to use the paramount example of sports changing
But
society.
you're related to everything, and that's the important point. If you're talking, we just finished talking about Kyrie Irving. That wasn't about sports. That was about a sports figure involved in a very real life
That's
issue.
what I'm saying.
And that's what you do. And so for me,
So
it's like
you're gonna do it.
well,
So we're
of course,
just, we're
I'm
just.
gonna do it. But I tell you
You're
this.
gonna
I tell you
do it,
this.
so just.
But what I do, with, especially why I'm happy I got a podcast, is because I got my opinions and I'll express it. I'll do my interviews. But to me, my gift, one of my gifts, has always been, this is who you should listen to. That's who you should listen to. That's who you should listen to. It's about pointing people in a direction where they can get real substantive information. And that's where, to me, because a lot of people, when you
All
work in a
right.
9 to 5 or whatever it is,
Everything
like
looks
most of the
okay.
world is doing, they're on their grind, they're just trying to survive.
Right.
They don't know where to go.
Right.
They don't know where to go. And so when the fact that there's a younger demographic, for example, that
Check the
gravitates to
quality
that
later,
18
but
to 34, that 25 to 49 demographic, a lot of times I'll tell them, did you see final? Did you
Oh.
see? Did you see? New rules with Bill Maher. Did you see Wolf Blitzer and what he said? Did you see? And yes, I will say, did you see or Sean Hannity or somebody and what they say? I go back and forth,
Right.
just to let people get both sides and let them know. All right, here's where you go to get that perspective. That's just me.
I always like it when you like give the younger generations who are acting a little fragile
Yeah.
no quarter.
None.
That's one thing that really
Yeah.
attracts me to your commentaries on stuff.
Right.
Like,
It's the real world.
well, like after a foul shot,
Mm-hmm.
we always have to hit everybody's hand,
And why?
even
For
when
what?
you miss.
Yeah.
I think if you miss,
What am I slapping your hand
Why
for?
does it
That's
say
if
that
you missed.
congratulations.
You missed.
It's
You
just,
know?
it's just
Especially in crunch time. We need you to hit these damn free throws.
Right.
I'm not patting you on
But
the
like,
back. Like, damn it, make the shot.
It's obviously such a chore for all of them too. They just seem to do it ritually. Like,
Yes.
okay, if I don't, like, Phil will be hurt by.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
what the fuck?
And then
is
you
it?
sensitive to the crowd. They're booing. I mean, we go out there
Like-
and we work as hard as we can.
But-
God damn it, you're getting paid
Do they-
$35 million.
Also, do they I think
We
that
ain't
We're
trying to hear
backstream.
that. Get it done.
that generation needs such constant reinforcement. That's what that says to me. That's the way they were raised.
Yeah.
Hey, high five. You just missed a foul shot. Try another one.
Right.
If you miss it, we'll high five you.
You know what? You're right. And I wouldn't have as nearly, I don't blame you for laughing because you're right. I wouldn't have nearly as much of a problem with it if the real world was like that. But the fact of the matter is when you get away from your cocoon, where y'all are doing that in your respective profession in the moment, and you go out there in the streets, or you go out there in corporate America, or you go out there in the real world, that is not what's going to happen. So why are we encouraging what is just phoniness as far as I'm concerned? I don't think is the right way
But
to
you
go.
know what the answer to that is? Or no, I shouldn't say answer, that's misleading. The response.
Yeah.
And I don't know which is right. Because I've made the same point that
do it.
it's not going to be like that in the real world.
Right.
And then I've heard people say, except that generation, they're changing that world.
Yes.
It becomes their world.
Right.
Like a good example of that would be returning to work. You know, they don't want to do it.
Right.
They like staying at home in their
Yeah,
pajamas.
yeah.
they're fucked up, the
Yes.
kids.
Mm.
Okay.
That's not the
So-
real world.
But if they, in mass, refuse to go back to the office, which is happening in some places, corporations have no choice but to, what are they going to fire everybody?
Yeah,
And
you can let their ass go and get people who want to come into work and earn some money.
But
yes, you can.
But can you if the entire generation is like that? Maybe
I don't
you
think,
can't.
I don't think that the entire generation is going to be like that because I think people live in the moment and the potential cost to them at that time. There's going to always be division there. Some people are going to accept it, some people are not. And by the way, who the hell said that you have to like everything your bosses want? But listen, listen, I've been very blessed and fortunate. You think I like everything my bosses want from me?
Right.
That I like everything my bosses request from me? Hell, half the time it get on my damn nerves sometimes.
Well, of
but
course.
it's the job. And if I signed up to do the job, I got an obligation to deliver what they asked me to.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, you're paid a lot and it's a fun job.
Now.
So, like, the combination of money and fun, that's, if most people would be more than happy, and that's why most people want to be influencers or some shit like that. I mean, you know, like a staggering number of people under 30, when asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Influencer. In other words, I just want everyone to look at me, like me, and want to do the things I do. And wear the things I wear.
But
what a
don't you
great
get
job.
annoyed? But don't you get annoyed at people who look at you and what you accomplished and pay no attention to what it took to get you there? You ain't lazy.
No.
You didn't sit up there and just pop up on the screen and all of a sudden, you know, you Bill Maher. Hell no.
No,
you had to be on your grind. You had to put in that work. And every star that I've known has had to put in work. And so for me, one of the things, I got this little pet peeve, and I had this discussion with Dwayne Wade one day. You might want to talk to him. He's a really interesting guest.
I love him.
He's a good dude, too.
Flash.
He's a great dude. Great dude. I had this conversation with him one day when he was on my show. And he said, you could be whatever you want to be. I said, no, the hell you can't. You could be whatever your gifts allow you to be.
Right.
And only then if you put in the work. This notion that you could just wake up, well, damn it, I want to be an NBA player. Bill, I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough. I could ball, but not to the level these cats could ball.
And
it was good enough to get a scholarship. It wasn't good enough to go pro, period.
Also, there's one really key thing that would preclude you from being a basketball player, no matter how good you were. Height!
How about that? How about that? Not always, though. I mean, Kyrie's a legit 6'1".
You need height.
Kyrie's a legit 6'1". He's spectacular.
Okay.
He's a superstar.
But he's 6'1" is pushing it, but doable. 5'8".
Iverson was 6 feet.
5'8" is not.
Okay. The Spud Webbs of the world and others.
Yeah, they've had
Nate Robinsons of the world. Yeah.
Yes, it happens for a little bit.
But it's an aberration.
And it's always such a liability on defense.
Fair enough.
That it can never last.
You ain't lasting. You ain't lasting. It ain't a long, fruitful career that you're going to have.
And it's been a while since we had one. I think Nate Robinson was the last one. They just gave up on the concept for good reason.
Especially now. Because the game has evolved, where you got cats shooting threes all over the place. And guess what? If you short, it ain't like you can defend against them. So they got an open path to the basket in terms of their visual, and they're not worried about you and stuff like that. So the game has changed and really has hurt the shorter guy.
I must confess to you.
Short King L, bro, in basketball.
Like I'm in church. I almost want to jettison basketball watching sometimes because the refereeing. Because, you know, if you're invested in it, even though I fully admit watching sports is the greatest single waste of time in my life. The things I could have done, the plays I could have written. And I'm not even like a crazy sports fan, but I watch football on, you know, the days it's on, usually, at least partly, and I try not to watch baseball till the playoffs, but the Mets, was involved with them, you know.
They go into the playoffs, they got a chance.
Yeah.
They got a chance. They better win the division, otherwise they're going to lose in the postseason. They better win the division so they have to face the Dodgers into the NLCS.
And I love the basketball playoffs.
Yeah.
But first of all, when you're approaching the basket, there's no amount of just running without dribbling.
Right.
A guy like 10 feet from the basket just like shuffles his feet as traveling.
Right.
But then they like, the same thing with the strike zone. Either change the rule, it bothers my anal mind. Like, just, it bothers me that either change the rule to fit what's the reality, or no,
Let me
just
tell you
do
something.
that.
Let me
Minecraft
tell you
is-
something that you may have missed about the world of sports as it pertains to basketball, but I want you to pay attention to it because it's going to be very interesting, and I promise you're going to bring this up on your show. Gambling.
Gambling.
That's where the officiating
Right.
has really come into play. Remember, in 2018, Supreme Court gave the okay for states to engage in sports gambling. Because of that, you have football, basketball, baseball, all of them are going to be in a position to get the piece of the action. If you know nothing else about owners, understand they're greedy. They want to get paid. They want extra revenue. And so what happens is that if you're a league, how do you do that while making sure that the integrity of your sport is cemented to such a degree that you can bring gambling in and it doesn't compromise the integrity of the sport? You do that by being stricter about the rules, which the referees have to enforce.
They're not. It's the
And
opposite.
no. Oh, no. That is
Well,
not
they
true.
don't call traveling.
Oh, no, listen. You can say they don't call traveling, but they make a lot of calls that they didn't used to make.
That's
And it's like, it's become, a lot of times you see these guys
Oh, yeah.
got about
But
30,
also the-
40 free
also
throws a
the-
game. It happens.
The drawing fouls by pushing, by falling into somebody, and all that coast play.
They tried to eliminate
It's like
the drawing the offensive fouls, and they tried to eliminate that. But in the end,
come on, man.
that gambling, pay attention to that. Because you talk
Oh,
about
that's
billions.
so true.
You talk about billions.
Isn't
It's
it? Well,
billions.
I mean, I think people just don't remember a time, and I do, when there was one place in America where you could gamble,
Yeah.
called Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I think that was the only place.
Yeah.
And because I remember Atlantic City opened like late 70s, something like that, and that was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now the East Coast has their version,
Yeah.
and of course it never went anywhere good.
Governor Chris Christie was pushing for gambling in New Jersey. Roger Goodell in the NFL resisted it.
but I mean-
and then now they realize he was right with what he was pushing for.
Who was right?
Christie. He was talking
I
about.
see,
He was
right.
saying this is inevitable.
It is.
You can try to
Well,
act
I
like
mean,
it isn't, but it's coming.
They should, I mean, look.
Yeah.
So first it was just Vegas, then Atlantic City, and then okay, we're on a riverboat.
Right.
Like, why do we have to go to this?
Yeah.
We're on a river, so we're not
Come on
breaking
now.
anywhere.
Please.
How does Jesus find that
How about
less
that?
horrible? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Okay, so then there was that, and then states had lotteries, and then states, any place that was like economically challenged would petition, hey, if we had a casino here in the Catskills.
Let me tell you something. I don't buy that. You ever been to Atlantic City? How long's the last time
I
you been
play
to
it
Atlantic
every
City?
year.
Man, it's bad.
I know.
It's bad.
I know.
And all they got there is casinos. And
it's
people
so-
losing money every day.
It's so
It's
sad.
bad.
But it's so sad that, one, they could not have made it a version of Vegas.
Mhm.
It's not a secret sauce. You have to know how to be a showman.
That's right.
And Vegas does. And nobody in Atlantic City ever even tried.
Well, the thing about Atlantic City, in my opinion, is just an opinion, looking on the outside in, that they've never gotten about Vegas. Vegas is not just casinos. It's
That's
a
what
show.
I'm saying.
It's exactly
It's
what you're
about
saying.
being a show.
It's a show.
Exactly.
They have shows just as much as they have casinos.
yes.
Okay, they have the shows at the casinos.
If-
The fact is, Atlantic City, when you think about, I live an hour away from Atlantic City. Atlantic City, when you think about Atlantic City, you think about gambling. You don't think about shows. I'm not saying shows don't exist, but you don't think about it. You think about gambling. You think about casinos. Vegas, you think Sin City. Everything goes. They got everything.
But you also have in Vegas the wow factor.
That's
That's
true.
what they do.
Yes.
And to me, it's very often not a wow. But you know, I went to see
Yeah.
Cirque du Soleil
That's right.
shows,
That's
and
right.
I'm telling you, they're pretty wowie.
It is.
Especially the one with the water. It's you know, it's
Hey,
like
listen to this one.
you
And I went to Cirque du Soleil. I mean,
yeah, they're
absolutely, I
great.
saw it. It was great. But here's the interesting part. Think about this. Jerry Jones, the owner for the Dallas Cowboys, has a stadium, AT&T Stadium,
Yeah.
that seats 100,000 plus fans, and one of the biggest jumbotrons you could ever imagine. And people have passed that up to be at a T-Mobile arena that seats about 9,000 to 12,000 people. Think about that.
What do you mean
In
past it?
Vegas. In other words,
Oh.
you could have an event in Dallas, in Arlington, Texas,
Yeah.
or you could have it in Vegas. And they have it in Vegas anyway, even though it
Well,
seats
again,
10 times less.
because
you
Cher
have
is
it-
in Vegas.
There you go.
That's the whole
That's
thing.
my point.
And look, I remember that when Steve Wynn, oh God, was this the Bellagio? I feel like, did he own that? I don't know. I feel like it was that hotel, but it was definitely Steve
I
Wynn.
met him in 2015.
Steve Wynn?
Yes. You know who introduced me to him?
No,
Donald Trump.
I'm sure.
I was in the restaurant,
Of course.
and they told me don't leave, that Donald Trump saw me and he wanted to say hello.
Yeah.
And he brought Steve Wynn over to meet me. Now,
Always-
that was Donald Trump before he was president.
Always charming in person.
Always charming in person before he was president.
No, and probably now. You
I've
know,
never met him
I mean,
since
he's
he's been
playing
president.
this character. No, I mean he's definitely been transformed.
Yes.
But anyway, so Steve Wynn, I remember he had this thing for years, the great art of the world, and he spent something like probably $500 million buying or at least renting on loan, like the paintings that Joe Blow knows.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Starry, Starry Night. You know,
Yeah.
Vincent Van Gogh. Everything short of the Mona Lisa.
Right.
But things that, like, you know, the average person, and it was a wow thing that wowed people. And these people didn't come, they didn't, oh, great, we're going to go to a museum. But they made a museum
Wow.
into a hot ticket
Mm.
because it was like the greatest hits of art through history, you know. I think it was
I'm not
almost called-
surprised.
Yes.
I'm not surprised.
That's-
I love his hotel, though. That's one of my favorite places
Trump?
to stay, the Wynn. The Wynn.
Oh,
The Wynn Hotel. Not the Trump. Not
Yeah.
the Trump Plaza, but the Wynn Hotel in Vegas.
Right.
One of my favorite places to stay.
But that's what Atlantic City never learned. They never learned to like make it a thing. And they also, in the bigger tragedy, they should have lifted that poor neighborhood, that city up.
Absolutely.
And it just shows you that whoever's in office,
Right.
the graft, the corruption,
Well, they don't
it's
get
so
it.
deep that
It's corruption, no question, because people go up in there and they're for themselves. First of all, let's call a couple of things. You fly into Vegas, you're in Vegas. And you go to your respective hotel, there's a casino at every hotel, blah, blah, blah. You fly in, when you go into Atlantic City, most people ain't flying to Atlantic City. They flying into Philadelphia, they flying into Newark International Airport, and then you got to drive about an hour to an hour
they
and 15
bust
minutes to
them
Atlantic City.
to Atlantic City.
I said what?
They bus people into
Yeah,
Atlantic.
exactly. So that's problem number one. Number two.
Well, excuse me, that's because the population is so much bigger than what's around Vegas. What's around Vegas? Nothing.
Nothing.
You got to really go out of your way to get there. Atlantic City is feeding from Philadelphia,
Yes.
the Jersey suburbs,
Yeah.
New York. I mean, you've got
Yes.
tens and tens and tens of millions of people.
Yeah.
This is obviously
Yes.
not a no-brainer.
You're making money. You're in a state with no state income taxes. Let's pay attention to all of that stuff. The shit matters.
New Jersey has no state
No,
income.
I said Nevada. I'm talking
Nevada,
about Nevada,
right.
Las Vegas.
Yes,
You understand?
yes.
All of these things play a
Yes,
role,
true.
and the adage, the mantra, Sin City, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It gives you the veneer,
Right.
the impression.
Yes.
You can do anything here.
Right.
And it's all right. You go back to the real world when you
Right.
finish. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Jersey don't give you that.
No, I'm sure there are many people in the Midwest who,
Yeah.
many, especially men, who think, I'm going to Vegas. I'm
That's
going
right.
to the strip club.
That's exactly
There
true.
will be a
I'm gonna gamble. I'm gonna win some money. I'm gonna give me a stripper. I'm gonna get loose, and then after that, I'm gonna go home like nothing happened. That's what they thinking. That's the plan. Okay, that ain't the real world, but damn it, it's a fantasy that Vegas sells very, very good.
I have read that there's sexual intercourse allowed if you buy a bottle in the champagne room. You know, I mean, I think they're then very disappointed. But Vegas is, I mean, I love it. I play there like 6 times a year.
Yeah.
I've been at the Mirage.
I'm gonna go see one of your shows.
I would love to have you up.
I will definitely come. You have my word. I will definitely come.
My last special, Adulting, you'll laugh your ass off.
Okay.
That's on HBO. It was just on. I'm sure you can find it on HBO Max.
Now I'll watch it, but I want to come to one of your shows.
Absolutely.
In person. I want to be there.
I don't really play LA much, but
I'll find out the dates. I'll come to you. If you're in Vegas, especially if you're in Vegas.
Let's do
You're in
Vegas.
I'll find you.
We'll,
no problem. I'll definitely come
fly
through.
out with me.
Yeah, I'll definitely come through, man.
It's a great deal at the Mirage. I can get your room.
Yeah. I'm good.
We'll
I'll be there.
I always have.
I'll be there.
And it's a very quick trip.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will fly Friday. No. Oh yeah, Friday. They want me Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will fly Friday night. We'll be home Saturday night after the second show.
All
so
right.
we'll only stay over one night.
Yeah.
That's to me, that's the way to do Vegas. I love Vegas, but not a big dose.
That's right. Not a big dose.
Not at our.
I like to get in and get out.
Right.
Get in. That's how I feel about Miami. You get in, it's spectacular.
Well,
Miami's great.
Miami
get in, get out.
Miami
Vegas, get in, get out.
Vegas with a beach.
That's right. But you got a lot to say, man.
Is that a haunt of yours?
Say what?
Is that a haunt of yours, Miami, a place you?
I love Miami.
Yeah, you do.
It is special.
Why? Because you.
I've had a lot of good times with Miami.
Right.
I've had a lot of good
look
times
on your
with
face.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Miami has been very good to me. Yes, that is true. That is true. Como está? Como está?
So it sounds like you're not married.
I'm not. Eventually, it might happen. I was a guy that was on the road for 250 days, 200 to 250 days out of the year.
Sounds like a perfect way
I
to be
didn't get married because ain't no way in hell I'm going to honor my marital vows and I'm on the road for 200 to 250 throughout the year. And so, I have no shame in saying that because I think that you have a lot of married people who violate their marital vows. And I'm proud to say that I'm not somebody that ever did that.
Hey, enough about Adam Levine. Everyone's piling on. For fuck's sake, give the guy a break.
I have no comment on him.
I was saying this to Gene, but
right.
Darryl Hall from Hall & Oates was here a couple of weeks ago.
I love him.
And I asked him,
Private Eyes.
Great voice.
Private Eyes, man.
And
One of the greatest songs ever.
Private Eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they
one
had
of my
a
favorite
lot
songs
of
ever.
amazing records.
Absolutely.
But I asked him about, 'cause it must be so hard to be a rock star and be faithful. And he just went, impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. But, people, it's not popular for people to say that. And it's like,
right.
Well, wait a minute. I'm 54, so my attitude is different now. But when I was younger and on the road 200 to 250 days out of the year, it was a different animal. And it wasn't even about, you with this one, that one. It was about you knew you wanted to be. And you knew that you would if you had the opportunity to. So why would you go and get married and commit to somebody knowing that your mind was someplace else? No matter what you did or didn't do, your mind was elsewhere. And a lot of times you see America tries to teach folks, well, do this because this is the right thing to do. Was it right to lie? Is it right to cheat? Is it right to violate vows that you made? Shut the hell up. If you a hoe, say you a hoe. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, if you're not, you're not. I mean, if you don't even have to be a hoe. If you aspire to be a hoe, you don't need to be married. And so, I mean, it's really that simple. But once you become a dad, which I am, and things change.
Right. Yes, I never did that either. But that was my main reason why I never got married. Was like I just can't ever look someone in the eye at some point and honestly say, you are the only person I ever want to fuck for the rest. It's
hard. It's hard to say that. I mean, damn it. To be honest, it's hard.
Okay, so
it's just hard, man. I mean, we do. We try. We try to do it, but damn it, it ain't easy.
Okay, so let's break this down.
Yeah.
If you can't honestly say that, but you can't.
Mhm.
And then if you're in a relationship, you are there, just as Sherlock Holmes would say, eliminate the impossible, and I mean the improbable. What's left is the truth. Uh, you have to lie.
Let me
You
say this.
have to lie
You do
because you can't say to somebody,
if you're going to get married, you have to lie.
right?
Right, that's true.
You have to
But
lie.
I will say this to you.
You have to.
You do get older. And as you get older, here's what I would tell you. It's not that you ever want to, I mean, especially as men, you always have an aspiration to go out there and damn it, sow your wild oats. Be loose. Whatever phraseology you want to use.
Women are so
But-
attractive.
But they're just beautiful. They just are.
It's-
They
it's,
just
uh,
are.
it's-
But
it's-
when you got a beautiful one, okay, and you look at yourself and you go like this. Now, here's the key. Nobody wants to ever admit this, Bill. But stay with me on this. You see, you gonna always have a problem when you weren't getting any. When you were somebody that damn near struggled to buy some. Okay? Because women just didn't want you. They just didn't want you. But if you are somebody that was not an issue, you do get to a point where you learn to value that one person that's in your life because you've been to the circus, as they say. You've done it, and you can't have them all.
I've heard that forever, and I don't.
Now, it doesn't stop you from wanting
I don't get
others.
I
but
don't get it either.
What-
I know. I mean, because what you're saying
Right.
is this been to the circus.
Right.
I've heard that,
Mm.
and it's like saying, you've had a lot of great meals,
Right.
so just stop eating.
That's true.
I
But-
just
but-
have
but
to
I-
say,
but I
yeah,
tell
I
you this.
had a lot of great meals, but
See,
I'm living now.
Let me tell
I'm
you.
living now.
Can I speculate about
Not
you?
on the furniture.
No. Can I speculate about you and why why your mentality may be different than most?
Yes.
I'm gonna go back to health.
Oh, I thought we were going back to my
You
child.
listen to this. You take care of yourself. You
Talk
talked about
plugins.
obesity. You talked about
Yeah.
people too heavy, they're unhealthy. I remember when you gave a new rules sermon
Oh,
on,
New rules.
folks are not healthy. I remember that. That was a great. I mean,
Thank you.
you were on point.
Oh,
You didn't say shit wrong.
you.
didn't say shit wrong.
I keep it
I
real.
totally agree. I totally agree with you. Right.
On subjects nobody else will.
That's right. So because you were pointing out
Yes.
how unhealthy we are as a society,
Right.
yo, Bill, there's a whole bunch of unselfish folks. Unhealthy folks out here.
Right.
And so a lot of times we don't want to admit it. But when you want to settle down, you're looking at your own mortality. And you're not just thinking about, damn, there's a new honey I want to hook up with. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about who's going to be there for you when you're sick. Who's going to be there for you to minimize the stress because you got shit you want to do. You think about all of that. And I'm saying you, Bill Maher, because you take care of yourself, you ain't walking around quote unquote unhealthy.
Right.
You can afford to have a healthier attitude towards
I say
being
what you're saying.
solo.
Yes. The sick thing is
That's my speculation.
No, I think again, not on the furniture. I think I've thought that point a lot about the sick thing. Like that is a common thing people say to you about when they're urging you to like hook up with someone permanently. They're like, "Don't you want someone there when you're sick?" And I'm like, that is the time I most want to be alone. When I'm sick, I don't want people around when I'm sick. First of all, you can't have fun with them because you're fucking sick.
Right.
And you're gross and you know it. And so you're like a little self-conscious. And like, why have someone there? I
can answer that. I can answer that. You know what it is? If she there for you then, she there for you when it counts. So you know when you better.
But what is it
She
counts?
gonna be there.
Like, because
What I'm saying, she's gonna be there for you.
if she could save me from dying, I would totally get married because, like, yes, if you can.
That's what
to me-
nurses and doctors for.
no, actually, stop
that
me
helps.
from dying ever. Like because
that helps.
because
That
that
helps.
because that is what I most fear,
Right.
and that is what I will be doing alone.
Let me ask you this
No
question.
matter how much a woman is behind me, she can't stop me stop that happening.
I know you're interviewing me, but I got to ask you
I'm
a
not
question.
interviewing anybody.
Well, I got
Look
you.
what
We're having a conversation.
we are-
We're having a conversation. But I'm in Club Random. I get it.
Yeah.
I got this question. I got this question, though. Are you scared of dying?
Well, it doesn't thrill me. Yes, I would say that that's one of those things I think is probably deep in our unconscious. Every once in a while, I feel like something reveals that, oh, unconsciously, yes, that's probably a stress point for you because, I mean, it's going to happen to all of us. And I'm now in the, age range where it starts to happen more. I, feel exactly the same as I always have. But, you're aware that your body is, aging. You can't stop it. So, yeah, I mean, mortality is as heavy as it gets.
I can tell you this about me. I have no fear. I shouldn't say no.
Really?
I have one fear. I want my daughters, I got 2 daughters. I want them to grow, they're teenagers. I want them to grow older where they're okay.
Right.
That's it.
Really?
Outside of that, I don't care.
Yeah, you say that, but if
let me
you
tell you
were
what I care
on
about.
your
Let me tell you what I
deathbed-
care about. I care how I die. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be ravaged with cancer. I don't want to get eaten. I don't want to get eaten alive. I don't want to die, get burned alive or something like that. But I really, 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 me personally, I'm just telling you me, I don't have any fear outside of my daughters. I have no fear. Because I'm gonna say this, and I'm not somebody that cusses too much on air, but I will tell you, I think this world is fucked up. I really, really do.
Well,
I don't enjoy.
well-
I don't enjoy being a part of what I'm witnessing transpire. And so for me personally, yeah, I'll make the most of it. I ain't gonna kill myself or anything like that. But I'm telling you, if my daughters are okay and they're gonna live a healthy, fruitful life, and I've set them up nicely, which I believe I'm doing, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to. It's how I die that I'm worried about, not dying. I'm not concerned.
Well, then we're different.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, how I die, yes, I definitely think getting eaten alive
Yeah, hell no.
would be better than like a long drawn out one. Did you ever see the movie Legends of the Fall?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I mean, I don't remember. It was years
It's
and
really
years and years ago.
good.
But I
It's
did
one of my
watch it.
favorites. And Brad Pitt, spoiler alert, at the very last frame, gets, and he gets eaten by a bear. And the Indian is like, it was a good death.
That's right.
And I think that is
I ain't going out like that. I ain't trying to go. I don't want nothing eating me, Bill. I don't want nothing eating me. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry. I don't want it. I don't want any of it. I want to die peacefully.
Yeah.
That's it. I lived a good life. I never tried to hurt anybody.
No.
I told my truth. I tried to be as fair-minded. I got into an argument with just a player today. I ain't gonna say his name, but I was saying to him, you disagree with
I
something.
need
and said a
plugins,
professional
bro.
athlete.
I
I'm
need
like, yo,
plugins, bro. I need
I was
plugins.
fair. I picked up the phone. I called your ass.
Right.
You weren't available. Other people were. They gave me a perspective. I said it because it rhymed with what I felt. Period. But I'm always fair. As long as I'm fair and humane, I sleep well.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm good. I'm really not. I'm not
But
somebody. I don't want to live till I'm 100.
I just realized this beat has not been.
You know what?
120.
I find this disingenuous. I think when these people, I don't want to, when you want one more day.
Fair,
My example is always
Fair.
George Harrison of the Beatles.
Okay.
Because he was the spiritual Beatle member. It was all about the next life and Hare Krishna and
Right.
oh, my sweet Lord, I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to meet you.
Right.
Well, when he got cancer, suddenly he wanted to wait.
Right.
And
But why, Bill? Why? Ask you this question: is it that you want to live, or you once you die?
both.
And I'm saying,
Why do I have to choose?
Well, let
I
me tell
want to
you why.
live because, I think of this a lot of time. I'm like, oh man, if I die, I'll miss the playoffs.
Right.
Like literally, like I will. It's like I will. I could give a nice. I mean, look, I've had a lucky life. We're doing a job.
This was how the noise gate.
Blah blah blah. There's bit bumps in the road.
I'll
and
turn that
hurts
off
and lots of bad
anyway.
shit. But generally, there's a lot of things, and I love being this age because you're more in control. You're wiser.
Right.
You know, I mean, you just don't stumble over as many.
Right.
So like, there's lots of things in my life that I like. You know, and some of them are most of them are probably you would think Monday dinner with friends.
Okay.
And the playoffs and my music.
I can't believe this
I
has
don't wanna miss
been
that
the
'cause
beats haven't been playing this whole time,
I
bro.
can never listen to this
Peace,
song
Kyle.
again.
Much love.
That's great. It seems
Fair.
very minor, but
Okay.
I mean,
That's cool. Brothers.
And,
we
you know-
brothers, but we brothers from a different mother. So let me say this to you. Well, let me say this to you. That's your perspective.
Interesting.
Let me give you the black shitty. You constantly scratching and clawing just for equality. You think you get to equality, and then the rules constantly change back to what they once were in a different way, but back to what they once were to remind you you ain't on an equal playing field.
You still feel that way?
Hell yeah. So then you go through that, right? And one day after another is a constant scratching and clawing and battling. You got people now, shit, you can bring up the Ku Klux Klan. They'll even tell you, we ain't bothering those folks. Let them kill themselves. Let them call each other sellouts and coons. Let them divide each other amongst themselves.
Oh, the
Let
patches
them
and fucking.
figure
I
out-
gotta
let
figure
them
that out.
be
I don't
as
have
close as
that
they can
set
be
yet, dude.
about what's going on? Let them kill one another. Chicago, St. Louis, the list goes on. Let them do all of this shit.
Well, let him sounds passive. I mean,
No, but what I'm saying is that they can afford to be passive. Because
but
what
no one's-
happens is shit is so much stuff has happened. They looking at us and they
You're talking
saying,
about-
let them be
Yo.
in Chicago.
everything.
Okay,
Everything.
but
Talk about all that.
black on black violence.
Right. Just like this white on white violence,
I know.
just like there's the Latino on Latino violence. I
Yes.
understand that. But we the ones that make up 13% of the population. The Census Bureau
I know.
the Census Bureau report doesn't say that we're gonna be 30% of the population in 2030, like they say about the Latino community.
But much higher numbers of violent crime.
Right? It's a problem.
Okay.
And so when you think about that, I'm just making a point to say, when you talk about wanting that tomorrow, I'm not saying we don't. What I'm saying is that the value on life for us, one would argue, at times at the very least, is a little bit less than it is for other folks. Because other folks see lights at the end of the tunnel. Black folks, a lot of times, more often than not always, but more often than not, we don't see light at the end
Didn't
of the
even
tunnel.
mean to open that.
And as a person that's achieved a lot,
I know black
that
people.
sees the light at the end of the
Well,
tunnel, even I get to a point, I tell you this, and I got to confess this to you right here, right now. I'm going to say it to you in your podcast. I write it in my book. My memoir is coming out in January, Straight Shooter. And in the book, I say, my daughters are the greatest blessing that I've ever had.
Oh. Got hit with the ad.
They're also the greatest curse. I regret bringing them into this world. I think this world is
Jesus.
that fucked up. And it scares me what they'll have to deal with and what they'll have to encounter. It's bad enough what we have to encounter.
But it gets better. You don't think
Do
they're-
you think so? I don't know. Look.
Come on.
I don't know.
Really? Wait a second.
I don't know.
You don't think America looks very
Well, now I actually don't know what the fuck just happened.
different 2022 versus, I don't know, 1982? Pick, you were 15. Pick it.
I do.
Okay.
I do think that. But I'm saying
Well, isn't that
the divisiveness that we see. When I have to pray that let me see real time with Bill Maher because I'm getting an objective perspective. I'm not getting that when I watch CNN or MSNBC. I'm not getting that when I watch Fox News. I'm not getting that when I listen to a leftist. Or a progressive. I'm not getting that when I listen to a right-wing zealot. And the impact that they have on our lives, and you couple that with economic issues, inflation and beyond, crime, immigration policies, and all of this other shit. It's like, damn. Boy, I love my daughters to death, but damn. Did I really do a good thing by bringing them into this world?
Yes.
I do find myself thinking like that.
Can I give you perspective?
Please,
Like, I mean, this is just I don't know you from Adam.
We're having a conversation.
I just always liked you and wanted you. You wouldn't be here if I didn't like you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, a lot, and wanted to get to know you. That's what this is for.
Sure.
I think you're over-stressing about your daughters entering a world that is as big as the problems we have. This world is not a fucking nightmare.
I'm on
this
Stephen A.
country is
Smith's
not a
side on
nightmare.
that one.
Realistically, what is going on in their lives that is such a fucking nightmare? I mean, they're going off to college, I imagine.
Yes, they will be.
Okay.
Eventually, yes, in about the next 4 or 5 years.
Right. And they obviously have great support from you.
Yeah.
I mean, financially and otherwise.
Yes.
I mean, colleges are about the most liberal places you can go.
Right.
You can't really be thinking that black women in 2022 are going to walk on campus and it's like, oh my God, there's black people at this college. I mean, you know.
Well, you can say
what
that.
What are we talking about?
I'll tell you.
That is going to be so horrible in their life.
I'll tell you. I was watching New Rules a few weeks ago, and Bill Maher pointed out how much the world has changed when you look at the progressives and what have you. I mean, every little thing is so micromanaged. You say one thing, it could end your career.
Of course.
You say one thing, it could get you fired. You say one thing, it could get you excoriated. It could compromise your income. It could eradicate your quality of life, etc. That's what I'm talking about.
Canceling.
I'm talking about that.
Talking about canceling.
Yes, the cancel culture. I'm not talking about all of this other stuff. All of this other stuff we've been through. But this shit is too much.
Okay.
It's too much.
Right. And anybody can get canceled. But I'll tell you this, as black women in America right now, they have an easier time not getting canceled than I do. I'm the one who's playing with 5 fouls.
That's right.
I'm over 60, white, male, heterosexual.
Yes.
That's 4 strikes.
That's right. But think about that. The fact that you can say that that's 4 strikes is a problem.
It is.
What's wrong with that?
Saying,
I don't see anything wrong with any 4 categories you brought up.
And to be clarified, I'm not saying 4 strikes in society in general. I'm saying 4 strikes with the kind of woke Puritans is really what they are, who are hunting on the internet to cancel somebody, just finding a reason to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you're like, I mean, a lot of people
it's
believe
hard being a white guy, man.
You really shouldn't even be able to comment on racial issues if you're not. Well, it's ridiculous.
Please, it's ridiculous.
Thank you.
It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous.
And again,
I totally agree with you.
That's why I know.
It's just straight bullshit.
You're always reasonable.
It's straight bullshit. Listen, you got every right to comment on it just like anybody else.
Of course.
I mean, it's like. And here's my point. If you disagree, this is the problem.
Yeah, this is
one of the biggest problems that I have. Whether it's Bill Maher, Stephen A. Smith, or anybody else, you disagree with us, tell us why.
Right.
You want to cancel us without the explanation.
Exactly.
You want to cancel us without defending your position. How dare you say this?
Because they don't have a position.
They don't have a position.
Every week I say this. The same sort of buzzkills on the internet who come after me. Engage with the argument, and they never do.
Thank you.
It's just, you're old. Okay, but am I wrong?
Are you right or are you wrong?
Maybe that's why I'm right, because I've lived and seen things you haven't.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And that's what has me worried. Do you understand, Bill?
Anyway.
Let's put this in its proper perspective. We are living in a society where if I disagree with a woman, my tone has to be right.
Right.
My vocabulary has to be right.
You
And
better.
remember, Bill.
Yes.
I'm live. There's not even a 7-second delay.
I did my show live for
I'm live.
18 years.
I'm live. I can't listen, my tone has to be right. Every adverb, every verb, every adjective has to be right.
Pronouns.
I got to be don't get me started with the pronouns now. I got to make sure I got my daughters coming home from school teaching me about the pronouns, because the schools have indoctrinated them to such a degree where they checking the parents.
And that's what I meant when I said they're changing the world. So when you say, oh, well, that's not going to work in the real world, it is if it's their rules. Now it's their world.
I appreciate it. It gives me hope, what you're explaining. I'm open. I keep myself open-minded. I don't think
they're making it better.
I'm not married to my position. If I'm potentially wrong, I will embrace it, and I appreciate that. But I will confess to you, I thank you for that, because it's scary as hell.
It's fucking scary.
It's scary. When we see you, when we worried about ourselves, look, man, I ain't worried about me. I'll deal with whatever I got to deal with. I'm from the streets of Hollis, Queens. Right. Hell, I got millions in the bank. God has blessed me to have a few $1 million in the bank. I grew up with nothing. I'll be okay. Right. I could live in an apartment tomorrow if I had to. But when you got 2 daughters, that changes the game. Because you don't want them to have the life that you have. And the fear comes in because you're looking at this world and you're like, what the hell is going on? And so this liberal that is Bill Maher goes on national television and he calls out the liberals because you're saying like, yo, I'm with you, but you hurting our cause because you're not handling business the way you're supposed to. And you're preoccupied with bullshit.
Hurting our cause, and sometimes, yes, but also like not always my cause at all.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of people, it's like, wait, no we, time out. Not we, don't speak for me.
Right.
I mean, Michael Moore, I love him. One of my best friends.
Yeah.
But he was on my show.
I like Michael Moore.
The other night, and he said, we have to get out there and vote. And it was just like, it was a little off to me because I'm like, and I even said to him, Michael, there are Republicans who watch this show. Yeah. Just let's not assume the we.
Exactly.
You gotta earn my vote.
That's exactly correct. And say and to be real clear with you.
Neither party really is.
When I say we have to stop with the bullshit, I'm not pointing the finger at progressives or conservatives. I'm pointing it at both. I'm saying what happened to us being the society that we're supposed to be. We can have our differences with our political points of views and what our policies may be, but the goal is supposed to be all of us being together in a civilized society and a society flourishing as a result of that. It's not supposed to be, I want my way, fuck your way. That's not supposed to be it, but that's what they've been doing. And so for me, when I think about what you're talking about, I totally get it. And I'm like, okay, that leaves us hope because you're looking for somebody to call people out because, again, we're both in the television business. We pay attention to ratings and all of this other stuff. And the reality of the situation is that Trump was good for some people's ratings, bad for others. And so, he's gone now and ratings have faltered.
Not really bad for anybody.
Well, you could say that.
But I know that. I mean, he was good for Fox and he was good for MSNBC.
Well, I'm talking about bad once he's gone. He's bad for CNN, was he not?
Ratings-wise?
Ratings-wise.
No. Everybody
was not?
I don't think so.
Okay,
everybody watched TV. No. Donald Trump was that accident you couldn't take your eyes off.
That's right.
So people were just watching news.
Right.
And he was always doing something incredibly mental that you had to follow.
That's right. That's right. So, and you called him out for the things that he did.
Nobody's watching. But I love doing. And looking at OBS, fucking Twitter on the other screen, playing games or make. I do more.
Did for
Of
the things
course.
that he did.
Right.
It wasn't like I don't like the guy. And like,
Well,
listen,
I don't like him.
I don't
For
like
the things he
I don't
does.
like what I've seen either.
Right.
I'd never vote for him. That's the surefire way you won't get my vote. Well, you won't get my vote on that side if he was the nominee. Can't vote for him. He's too divisive. I get that. But I think as a black man, let me be very, very clear. So you got civil rights legislation in 1964. You got Voting Rights Act in 1965. You got Lyndon Johnson that basically, purportedly said, I don't know whether it's true or not. He says if we put forth this legislation, we'll have the Negro vote in our favor for the next 50 years. Ever since that time, black folks have voted Democratic for at least 90% of the time. I understand what I'm seeing from the conservative side. I don't like it. And I know the Sean Hannitys of the world, the Mark Levins of the world. I know these people. I speak to them. I don't agree with their policies, but I respect the fact that they're honest about where they stand. They ain't sugarcoating it, all right? But then I go to the left, and I'm like, well, you got our vote. I voted Democrat at least 99%. The only Republican I've ever voted for was Chris Christie. It's the only Republican I ever, because I thought Corzine was a crook, okay? And it's the only Republican I've ever voted for. But I also look at it, and I say, my mentality.
That's how.
Why must I be so transparent with my support of one party over the other? Because by being so transparent, I got one party that's enabled me, that is allowed to take me for granted. I got the other party that has a license to ignore me because they know they're not going to get my vote because they've never gotten more than 10% of the vote since 1964, with the exception, I think, of maybe Trump that got 12%.
Yeah.
Okay? And so as a result of that, we're the ones that disenfranchised. So when they invoked laws that would eradicate Jim Crow, well, that took care of it in the South. What about the North? What about the West? What about the Midwest? What did you do for them? Because all of a sudden, we got these issues. And what I'm saying is that I think like that. And I appreciate the fact that I'm watching a guy every Friday night that thinks like that, that's willing to say, yo, this is what it is, okay?
That means a lot.
And that's what it is. I'm sincere. It's like the fact that you're willing to say, hey,
Well, I
what
got to say
about
goodnight
this?
now. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, I got it. Well, thank you for the Hennessy.
Yeah,
it was very
I
nice.
love this. I can do it every week with you.
Man, I appreciate
Someday
you.
we will have a morning show together.
I doubt that. I don't like getting
I
into the
will not have
mornings.
gone to bed yet, and you will just have gotten up, and it'll be very interesting.
Yeah,
All right.
my man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, buddy.
All right.
All right.
Club Random.
You know, I go right back to work on my real show now.
Hey,
You know,
what you gotta do.
You know.
Stephen A came out pretty smart, pretty fun.